Any reproduction of this training video, in part or in whole, is unlawful and strictly prohibited without the prior written consent of VIA Graphics Corporation. Included with your videotape is a course index. This contains reference numbers which will allow you to quickly access sections and topics with ease. In order to use this, you should reset the counter on your VCR to 0 now.
The Teach Yourself series from VIA Graphics, designed to teach you to use your computer the fast and easy way.
I'm Colin Lucina along with Julie Clemens.
In today's competitive market, the versatility of Excel can help us produce information in a clear and concise manner.
Not only does Excel give us enhanced spreadsheet capabilities, but it also includes an easy-to-use Windows interface. Since Excel runs in the Windows 95 environment, we assume you're familiar with the fundamentals of Windows 95. However, if you need to review, please refer to the VIA Graphics tutorials, Learning Windows 95, Introduction, and Advanced.
If you would like to try the following exercise with us, please install the learning files now using the following commands. We'll place the learning disk in the proper drive. Ours is A. Click on the Start button and select Run from the menu. In the command line, enter a:\vialearn.exe and choose OK. Then choose the Install button and click OK to accept the default directory. A window appears showing the installation progress, and we'll choose OK at the successfully copied prompt. The VIA Graphics Learning folder now appears in the C drive, and we are returned to the Windows 95 desktop.
We've made a complete installation of Microsoft Office 97 from the CD-ROM, which includes Excel. Let's begin at the Windows 95 desktop.
We'll click on the Start button and choose Programs. Then we'll select Microsoft Excel. Since our window came up in Restore mode, we'll maximize this window for a larger work area. The Maximize button is in the upper right corner. It's the one with the box on it. Now that Excel is up and running on our screen, let's take a moment to discuss the Excel window. The title bar is the bar across the top of the window. It shows the name of the file that is currently being used. Excel starts off with a default name of Book 1. As we create new files, the name changes. Just below the title bar, we see the menu bar. The menu bar contains the drop-down menus for Excel. Excel initially displays two toolbars. The standard toolbar generally appears just below the menu bar. The formatting toolbar appears just below the standard toolbar. The standard toolbar is used for basic workbook tasks, and the formatting toolbar is used for formatting characters, numbers, and cells. We can display any of Excel's built-in toolbars, and we can customize them to include the buttons that we use most. Excel automatically saves any changes we make to our toolbars. To display a list of Excel's toolbars, click on the View menu and choose Toolbars. We can also access Excel's toolbar list by clicking the right mouse button on a toolbar and selecting the desired toolbar from the list. To close the list, re-click on the View menu. For a brief description of what a tool does, place the mouse on top of it. A description or screen tip appears describing the command the button performs. The button we've selected will preview the print selection. The formula bar displays the contents of the active cell. We can edit values and formulas with the formula bar. Let's type VIA Graphics in the first cell, but don't press the Enter key. As we enter VIA Graphics in the cell, notice the green check and the red X on the formula bar. To cancel our changes, we click the red X or Cancel option. We'll retype VIA Graphics. Clicking the green check anchors the data into the cell and makes it part of the worksheet.
Excel files are called workbooks. A workbook is an electronic equivalent of a 3-ring binder.
Inside workbooks, we find spreadsheets. Each spreadsheet is like a separate piece of paper inside the workbook. Let's view a sample worksheet. We'll select the Open tool. It looks like a half-open yellow file folder. We'll locate the VIA Graphics Learn folder on the C drive. Then we'll double-click the Chapter 1 file. This is a multiple worksheet file with 4 sheet tabs, which represents the retail, cost, and profit amounts of baseball team articles. Each team has its own figures and worksheets, and the tabs have been renamed to reflect this. We can have up to 255 worksheets in a file, and each one will be identified by a number or a name on the tab. When a worksheet is active, the title of the Sheet tab appears bold-faced. To move to another worksheet, we simply click the tab. Let's view the Royals worksheet. To activate cell C10, we click the mouse in that cell. Notice the cell now has a heavy border around it. This indicates that our cursor is in that cell. We notice the row and column headings appear bold-faced when this cell is selected. We can also use the keyboard to move to the cell we want to activate. By pressing the arrow keys, we move through the spreadsheet one cell at a time. When we press the Home key, we move to the first cell in that row. Pressing the End key, then the Enter key takes us to the last cell in the row that's part of our document. Holding down the Control key as we press the Home key always moves us to the first cell in the worksheet. Control N takes us to the last cell of our information. Pressing the End key, then the Home key also moves us to the last cell of our information. Before carrying out most commands and tasks in Excel, we first have to select or highlight the part of the worksheet we want to work with.
We've been practicing selecting a single cell. Now we'll practice selecting a range of cells.
A range of cells is a rectangular section on the worksheet that contains 2 or more cells. To select a range with the mouse, we drag the mouse through the cells we want to include. We can press an arrow key to remove the highlight. We can also hold down the Shift key and press the arrow keys to highlight with the keyboard. To select one column, we click the mouse on the column heading, or we choose a cell in the column we wish to highlight and hold down the Control key while pressing the space bar. To select a row, click on the row heading or choose a cell in the row and hold down the Shift key while pressing the space bar. To select several columns or rows, drag through the heading. To select a block of cells, click the mouse on the first cell to set a beginning point and hold down the Shift key while clicking the last cell to set the ending point. Notice all the cells in between these 2 cells are highlighted. To select all the cells on a worksheet, click the Select All button. It's the rectangle in the upper left corner of the worksheet where the row and the column headings intersect. To make a multiple selection, we drag through the first selection. Then we hold down the Control key as we drag through each additional selection. We'll drag through cells A1 to A4. Then we'll hold down the Control key as we drag through cell C1 to C4. We'll close this workbook with the Close button in the upper right.
You may pause the tape now to practice on your computer.
In this chapter, we discussed the elements of the Excel opening screen.
We also viewed a sample worksheet and discussed both workbooks and worksheets.
Finally, we learned to navigate through the spreadsheet and select a single cell and a range of cells.
As we type numbers in a cell, they are automatically aligned to the right.
If a number is too long to display within the width of a cell, Excel will automatically adjust the width of the column to accommodate the widest entry in the column.
To enter a negative number, either precede it with a minus sign or enclose it within parentheses.
When we create a new worksheet, all cells have general format. However, if we include dollar signs, percent signs, or commas, Excel automatically changes the cell's format.
Let's return to Sheet 1 and click in cell A1 to select it. We'll type 500 and press Enter to insert the number in the cell, and we are moved to cell A2. Type -250 and press the down arrow on the keyboard to enter the number and move to cell A3. Type 15% and click the green check mark on the formula bar. Click the mouse on cell A4 and type $3,123 and press Enter. We can format a cell or range of cells before or after we make the entry.
When we change the format of a cell, we change the appearance only. The underlying value doesn't change.
Let's click on the Open button in the standard toolbar. We'll double-click on the format file located in the VIA Graphics Learn folder. We'll select the range B1 through B5. Click on the Format menu and select Cells. Select the Number tab if necessary, then click on the Currency category. We'll also select the second format for negative numbers and we'll change the number of decimal places to 0. Then we'll click on OK. Notice the number's appearance has changed in the worksheet, but they appear unformatted in the formula bar. The number in the formula bar is the number Excel uses when performing any calculations on this cell. Select the range C1 through C5 and click the right mouse button inside the highlighted area. Choose Format Cells. Make sure the Number tab is selected. Click the Accounting category and click on OK. The accounting formats keep the dollar sign on the left side of the cell. Notice Excel automatically adjusts the width of the column to the widest entry in column C. Next, we'll select cells G1 through G10. Click the right mouse button inside this highlighted area to access the shortcut menu. Choose Format Cells. In the Number Formats dialog box, select the Fraction category. We'll choose the up to 3 digits option and click OK to change the appearance of the decimal values into fractions. We can also use the buttons on the formatting toolbar to apply number formats. Select cell A1 and click on the Currency Style button. It's the button containing the dollar symbol. We'll click the Decrease Decimal Places button twice to round the number off to the nearest dollar. The Decrease Decimal Places button has 2 zeros on top of 1 zero and is located on the Formatting toolbar. Select column E to change the formatting of the entire column and click the Percent Style button. We'll click the Increase Decimal Places button once. The Increase Decimal Places button has 1 zero on top of 2 zeros. Let's type 1.25 in cell E11. Notice the percentage formatting is applied to any new numbers as they are added to this column. Select cells F1 through F10 and click on the Comma Style button. We'll decrease the decimal places to 0. The standard column width in a new worksheet is 8.43 characters.
We can change the width using Autofit or define a width from 0 through 255 characters.
To change column width using the keyboard, we select either the column we want to change or a cell in the column we want to change. We'll choose cell A1. From the Format menu, select Column, then choose Width from the submenu. We'll type 15 to increase the width of column A and click OK. Now we'll click in cell D5. From the Format menu, we'll choose Column, then we'll select Auto Fit Selection. Notice the number of symbols that appear in the rest of the column. This indicates that the numbers in those cells are too wide to be displayed. To make the column width fit the contents of the column, select the entire column by clicking on its heading. Choose Auto Fit Selection from the Column submenu in Format.
When we choose AutoFit selection for a whole column, Excel widens the column so that the longest string of numbers or text is fully displayed in its own cell and doesn't spill over into other columns.
When we auto-fit a single cell, the width of the column is adjusted to fit the size of the selected cell. To change row height, we select either the row or a cell in the row that we want to change. We'll select row 5. We then click on the Format menu, select Row, then choose Height. We type the row height we want. It can be up to 409 points. Let's type 30 and click OK. To change row height with the mouse, point to the vertical line at the top edge of the row heading. We'll change row 10 by aiming the mouse on the boundary between row 10 and 11. When the pointer changes to a horizontal bar with arrows pointing up and down, drag down to increase the row height or up to decrease it. To auto-fit with the mouse, double-click the mouse on the row boundary. We can also adjust row height by clicking the right mouse button on the row number. Let's right-click on row 7. Choose row height in the shortcut menu. Type the desired number, we'll enter 45, and click on OK. Let's switch back to Sheet 2. To change the row height for the entire worksheet, we click the Select All button. From the Format menu, choose Row, then from the sub-menu, choose Height. We'll type 125 and click OK. We'll close the file with the Close command in the File menu and answer Yes to save the changes.
We can change the position of numbers or text within a cell.
Initially, all numbers are aligned on the right side of the cell, and text is aligned on the left. We'll click the Open button on the toolbar and double-click the Align file. We change the alignment for all of column B by clicking the mouse on the B heading. Choose the Format menu and select Cells. Then we'll choose the Alignment tab. Some of our choices are the General options, which aligns text on the left side of the cell. Numbers, dates, and times are aligned on the right. And logical values, true and false, are centered within the cell. It's important to remember that changing alignment doesn't change the data type. Choosing left indent alignment puts the cell contents on the left side of the cell. However, if we specify a number in the index box, the cell contents indents that number of spaces from the left side of the cell. Center alignment arranges the cell contents in the center of the cell. Right alignment places the cell contents on the right side of the cell. The Fill option repeats the characters in the leftmost cell in the selection across the selected range. Justify adjusts the spacing between words so that the line is as wide as the cell. Center across selection centers the text within the selected cells. We'll choose Center. The Wrap text box wraps text into multiple lines within a cell so that all the text can be displayed in a narrower column width. Choosing the Shrink to Fit box reduces the size of font characters so that all data fits within the column. The character size is adjusted automatically if we change the column width. Finally, the Merge Cells options combines two or more selected cells into a single cell. The cell reference for a merged cell is the upper left cell in the original selected range. Click OK or press Enter. Let's select the range A4 through A7 and change the alignment to left using the toolbar. The Left Align tool is the button to the right of the U button on the formatting toolbar. Now let's select A10 and type a %sign. Click the green check on the formula bar. We'll highlight cells A10 through G10, then we'll click the right mouse button in the highlighted area. We'll choose Format Cells from the shortcut menu. Make sure the Alignment tab is selected, and choose the Fill option from the horizontal menu. Click OK or press the Enter key. To use the Wrap Text option, we'll click in cell A2 and type January Sales. Click the green check mark on the formula bar. Choose Cells from the Format menu and select the Alignment tab in the dialog box if necessary. Click on the Wrap Text box and press Enter. Let's center the text with the Center tool. It's the button with lines that look centered on the button. To center text across columns, we'll type 1998 sales projections in cell A1 and click the green check in the formula bar. We then highlight cells A1 through G1 and click on the Merge and Center button on the formatting toolbar. It looks like a sheet of paper with a lowercase a printed on it. Clearing a cell clears the contents, formatting, and/or notes from that cell.
Deleting a cell removes the cell and closes up the space occupied by the cell.
In a formula, the value of a cleared cell is 0.
Formulas referring to deleted cells return an error value.
To delete a range, select cells A4 through A5. We'll choose the Edit menu and select the Delete command. In the dialog box, choose Shift Cells Up and click on OK. Click cell A2 to deselect the range. To clear a range, we'll select cells A1 and A2. From the Edit menu, we'll choose Clear. Then we choose All from the submenu. To clear the contents only, we'll click on the heading for row 4 to select the entire row. Press the Delete key on the keyboard. To clear the formats only, we'll select column C by clicking in its column heading. From the Edit menu, we'll choose Clear and Formats. To delete an entire column, we click the right mouse button on the D at the top of the column to select the column and access the shortcut menu. We'll select Delete from the menu. To delete a row with the main menus, we'll click row 7's heading and select Delete from the Edit menu.
The Undo command allows us to reverse up to 16 actions.
Click in cell A1 and type Excel. Press Enter. Click on the Edit menu and select Undo, typing Excel in A1. Click on cell D5 and press the Delete key on the keyboard. Click the Undo button to undo the clear. It's the curved blue arrow that's pointing to the left on the standard toolbar. Click the right mouse button in cell B5 and choose Delete. Select Entire Row and click OK. Now let's hold down the Control key and press the letter Z to undo the deletion. With cell B5 selected, press the Delete key on the keyboard. Now select B6 and press Delete. To quickly undo more than one action, click the small down-pointing triangle to the right of the Undo tool. Select the last action in the list. Excel undoes the last action and all the actions above it. Let's close this file without saving any changes.
You may pause the tape now.
In this chapter, we entered data into cells of a worksheet. Then we formatted cells using Excel's number formats.
We changed both column width and row height. We also adjusted the alignment of the data in the cells.
Finally, we cleared and deleted data, and then we used the Undo command. The File Close command allows us to clear our screen to work on a new worksheet.
We can save our worksheet each time we choose this option.
We can also close the worksheet by choosing Close in the worksheet's control menu, or by selecting the Close window button in the upper right.
We don't have to close a worksheet to open another. The number of open worksheets is only limited by the amount of memory our computer has.
From the File menu, we'll select Close. We'll choose No to close the worksheet without saving it. Notice the screen is blank and we are ready to open another workbook or create a new workbook. We'll click on the New Workbook tool on the standard toolbar to create a new worksheet. It's the first button on the left. We'll highlight the range A1 through C5. Pressing the Enter key moves us down one cell at a time in the selection. Notice when we reach the end of the selection in column A, pressing Enter moves us to cell B1. Holding down the Shift key as we press Enter moves us up one cell in the selection. Pressing the Tab key moves us to the right one cell in the selection. Holding the Shift key and pressing the Tab key moves us to the left one cell in the selection. We'll type some data pressing enter after each number. If we want to type completely different data in a cell, we just select the cell and retype the data. Click in cell A1 and type 1,250. To erase mistakes during entering, we use the backspace key. Click in the cell A6 and type 158. Then press the backspace key once and type a 9. To cancel the entry, we press Escape or click the red X on the formula bar. We can change and correct information after we enter it by double-clicking the cell containing the data we want to edit. Let's double-click cell B1. Press the Home key on the keyboard to move to the beginning of the line and type 1. We'll click the green checkbox on the formula bar to change the number to 1,129. We can also select a cell and edit the entry in the formula bar. We'll select cell B3. Click the mouse in between the 1 and the 5 on the formula bar. Type 8 and press enter to change the number to 18,583. Finally, we can edit a cell by using the F2 key on the keyboard. We'll click in cell C1 and press the F2 key on the keyboard. The F2 key is the edit key. Press the left arrow twice to place the cursor between the ones and type 0. Press enter to change the number to 1,012.
Any newly typed or updated data isn't saved to disk automatically.
To save a file, we must give the file a name.
To make it easier to find our documents, we can use long, descriptive file names.
Click the Save tool on the standard toolbar. It looks like a floppy diskette. Type Save Exercise 1 and place it in the VIA Graphics Learn folder. Press Enter. The workbook is now saved using this name. Choose cell B2 and type 250. Click the Save tool on the toolbar again to replace the previously saved version of the worksheet with the current one. To assign a new or different file name or format, choose Save As from the File menu or use the shortcut key F12. In the Save File As type box, we can save the workbook as a different file format, such as Lotus 123 or DBase 4. If we choose the Options button, we can add a password. We can also create a backup file. This way we can have the last two versions of a worksheet on our disk, both the version we just saved and the previous version. Click the Cancel button. To create a backup that's identical to the file we're working on, we'll type a new name in the name area. Let's type VIA Practice and click the Save button.
You may pause the tape now.
In this chapter, we closed a worksheet and created a new workbook.
We entered data in a selected range, edited a cell, and saved a workbook.
When we're designing new workbooks, we can start with a blank workbook, or we can base the new workbook on a template.
A template is a workbook that already contains specific content and formatting that we can use as a model for other similar workbooks.
To create a new workbook, choose New from the File menu. To base our workbook on the template, click the Spreadsheet Solutions tab. Then we double-click the template for the type of workbook we want to create. We'll choose Invoice. Let's click the Customize Your Invoice tab. We'll type VIA Graphics as our company name, 5 South Van as our address, and Pryor, Oklahoma 74361 as the city, state, and zip, pressing Enter after each entry. Click in the phone cell and type 800-842-4723. Press Enter. The fax number is 918-825-6744. As we scroll down through our invoice, we notice several small red triangles. These are notes that have been placed in the documents to help us. Aiming the mouse at these triangles shows us the note. We'll accept all the default settings and move to the bottom of the document. Notice Excel has already entered our information on the invoice.
At times, we need a document that doesn't fit any of our predefined templates. When this happens, we have to design our workbook from scratch.
Click the New Workbook tool on the toolbar. In cell A1, we'll type American Gems, Inc. and press Enter. In cell A2, type Sales, first quarter. Press the Enter key twice. In cell A4, type Costume Jewelry. Press Enter after each entry. In cell A5, type Silver. Type Gold in cell A6. Type Fine Jewelry in cell A7. Type Watches in cell A8 and Total in cell A9. In cell B3, type January. Type February in cell C3 and March in cell D3. In cell E3, type Total. Select row 4 and choose rows from the Insert menu to insert a blank row. Highlight A1 through E2 and center these titles across the columns by choosing cells from the Format menu. Then we'll choose the Alignment tab and select Center across selection from the horizontal list. Press Enter. We'll select row 10. Then we'll hold down the Control key and select column E. Choose the Currency Style tool on the toolbar to make the values entered in these cells appear with dollar signs. Aim at column A's boundary and double-click to widen the column. Double-click the Sheet 1 tab and rename this sheet Quarter 1. Double-click the Sheet 2 tab and name this sheet Quarter 2. In cell A1 of this worksheet, type American Gems, Inc. and press Enter. In cell A2, type Sales, second quarter. Click on the Quarter 1 Sheet tab to return to the first worksheet. Select cells A5 through A10. Choose the Copy tool in the toolbar. It looks like two pieces of paper. Switch back to the second worksheet by clicking the Quarter 2 tab. Click in cell A5 and click the Paste tool on the toolbar. It looks like a clipboard. Aim at column A's boundary and double-click to widen the column. In cell B3, type April. Type May in cell C3 and June in cell D3. In cell E3, type Total. We'll select row 10, then we'll hold down the Control key and select column E. Choose the Currency Style tool on the toolbar. Select cells A5 through A10 and click on the Copy tool. Click on the Sheet 3 tab. Click in cell A5 and choose the Paste tool on the toolbar. Hold down the Control key and press the Home key to move to cell A1. Type American Gems, Inc. Press Enter and type Sales, third quarter. Double-click the Sheet 3 tab and name it Quarter 3. Aim at column A's boundary and double-click to widen the column. In cell B3, type July. Type August in cell C3 and September in cell D3. In cell E3, type Total. We'll select row 10, then we'll hold down the Control key and select column E. Choose the Currency Style tool on the toolbar. Select cell A5 through A10 and click the Copy tool. Choose Worksheet from the Insert menu. Drag the new worksheet behind the Quarter 3 sheet. In cell A1, type American Gems, Inc. and press Enter. Type Sales, fourth quarter. Click cell A5 and select the Paste tool on the toolbar. Double-click the Sheet tab and name it Quarter 4. Aim at column A's boundary and double-click to widen the column. In cell B3, type October. Type November in cell C3 and December in cell D3. In cell E3, type Total. We'll select row 10, then we'll hold down the Control key and select column E. Choose the Currency Style tool on the toolbar. Click the right mouse button on the Quarter 4 Sheet tab and choose Insert. Select the General tab and double-click Worksheet in the dialog box. Drag the new sheet behind Quarter 4. Double-click the New Sheets tab and type Summary. In cell A1, type American Gems, Inc. and press Enter. Type 1996 Sales in cell A2. Switch to the Quarter 4 sheet. Select cells A5 through A10. Choose the Copy tool. Switch to the Summary sheet. Click in cell A5 and click the Paste tool. In cell B3, type First Quarter. Type Second Quarter in cell C3, Third Quarter in cell D3, and Fourth Quarter in cell E3. In cell F3, type Total. Select column F and click the Currency Style button in the toolbar. Aim at column A's boundary and double-click to widen the column. Choose Worksheet from the Insert menu to insert a blank sheet. To delete this sheet, it must be the active sheet. Choose Delete Sheet from the Edit menu. Click OK to confirm this decision. Close this file and answer Yes at the Save prompt. We'll name it Sales 96 and save the file in the VIA Graphics folder.
You may pause the tape now.
In this chapter, we learned to use Excel's pre-designed templates to create a new workbook.
We also designed a workbook unique to our business. In addition, we inserted worksheets into our workbook, renamed our worksheets, and deleted unnecessary worksheets.
Text entered in a cell can contain letters, digits, and other special characters.
Open a new workbook with the New button on the toolbar. In cell A1, type 1997 Sales Projection. We'll click the checkbox on the formula bar. Select the range A1 through F1. We'll make sure the text we want to enter across columns is in the far left cell. From the Format menu, choose Cells. Select Center Across selection from the horizontal line, and press Enter. By using the Autofill feature, Excel will enter a series into our worksheet.
We can automatically fill in dates, time periods, and a series of numbers, including numbers combined with text, such as Store 1, Store 2, and so on.
The Autofill feature works in both horizontal and vertical directions. Type January in cell A3 and don't press Enter. Place the mouse on the fill handle. It's the little black handle in the lower right corner of the active cell. We'll click and hold down the mouse button as we drag to cell A14. When we reach cell A14, we'll release the mouse button. Let's double-click column A's heading border to auto-fit the column. In cell B3, we'll type AUG as an abbreviation for August. Autofill to cell B14. Notice we can begin an autofill list with any member of a linear series. Let's type 12/28/96 in cell C3. Place the mouse on the fill handle and drag to cell C7. In cell D3, type first quarter and drag the fill handle to cell D7. We'll type a 1 in cell E3 and a 2 in cell E4. Highlight both cells and drag the fill handle to cell E7.
When we create an autofill series with values instead of labels, we must give Excel a pattern for the kind of series we want.
A value is a number we use in mathematical calculations. A label can be a text entry or a number that is used as text.
To change a number into a label, we type an apostrophe in front of the number.
We'll click the Save tool on the toolbar and name the workbook Autofill Series. Place it in the VIA Graphics folder. Click Save and close the workbook.
We begin a formula with an equal sign.
We can also type a plus or minus sign to begin a formula, and Excel will convert these to an equal sign.
Formulas may include values, cell references, names, functions, and operators.
Excel uses these arithmetic operators. We use a plus sign to add. We use a minus sign to subtract. We use an asterisk to multiply. We use a / to divide. The order for operations is parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication and division, finally addition and subtraction.
This means Excel will perform any operation enclosed in parentheses first and will perform addition and subtraction operations last.
We'll choose the Open tool on the toolbar. Double-click the Formulas file. To add the total sales for Division 1 and Division 2, we'll click the cell C4 and type an equal sign. Then we'll click in cell A4 and type a plus sign. Finally, we'll click the cell B4 and press Enter. Now let's click in cell E4. To subtract the expenses from the sales, we first type an equal sign. Then click in cell C4 and type a minus sign. We'll click in cell D4 and click the green check on the formula bar. Now scroll to the right using the horizontal scroll bar. To figure the percent of change, we'll first click in the cell where we want the answer to appear. Let's click in cell H4. Type an equal sign to begin our formula and click in cell G4. We'll type a / to divide, then click in cell F4 and press Enter. We'll double-click the control menu to close the workbook. Choose Yes to save the changes. Typing formulas can be awkward when developing worksheets with numerous rows and columns.
Excel provides functions that streamline the operation of our formulas.
Functions perform a specific operation. They consist of an equal sign and a single word that identifies the function.
Excel will accept an @ symbol and convert it to an equal sign.
Open the SumFun file located in the Learn folder. We'll click in cell B10. To find the total, we'll use the Edit Formula button on the formula bar. It's an equal sign. Answer no when the office assistant asks if we want help. We'll choose Sum from the reference area of the formula bar. Let's move the dialog box out of the way by dragging it to another location on the screen. We'll click in cell B4 and drag through cell B9. Then we'll click on the OK button. To automatically add, we'll click in the cell where the answer will appear. Let's choose cell C10. Click the Auto Sum button on the standard toolbar. It's the button with the letter sigma. We'll click the button again to accept the proposed range and total the column. To access the Auto Sum button with the keyboard, hold down the Alt key and press the equals key.
When we construct our worksheets, we often use the same data and formulas in more than one cell.
The copy option allows us to create the initial data or formula once and then place copies of this information in other cells in the worksheet. Excel offers 3 methods for copying formulas. First, we'll click in cell C10. We'll select Copy from the Edit menu. Then we'll click in the cell we want to copy the formula to. Select cell D10 and press Enter to paste the formula. Notice the cell addresses in the formula have changed automatically to add the new column. To use the second copy method, we select the range D10 through F10. Choose Fill from the Edit menu and Write from the submenu. We can also fill left and up. To utilize the third copy method, we first click on cell G4. Click the Auto Sum button. Notice Excel is adding horizontally. Click Auto Sum again. Place the mouse pointer in the bottom right corner of the cell until it changes to a cross. We'll click and hold down the left mouse button and drag the cross through cells G5 to G10. Release the mouse button. When we copy, we take a value or formula in one cell and copy it into a cell or range of cells.
Moving is similar, except that the original cells are cleared.
We'll highlight cells A4 through G10. Click the right mouse button in the selected range and choose Cut. Click on cell A5 and press the Enter key. Close and save the file.
You may pause the tape now.
In this chapter, we entered text into the worksheet, and we created a text series by using Autofill.
We created basic mathematical formulas, used the sum function, and the auto sum tool.
Finally, we copied and moved data.
Excel offers several ways to enhance our worksheet.
First, we'll open the forecast file. Now let's add borders to set off the headings and totals. Select the range A1 through F2. Position the mouse anywhere over the selected cells and click the right mouse button. Choose Format Cells and click the Border tab. We'll choose the heavy line style. To add some color to our selection, we click the arrowhead button to the right of the color box. Let's choose blue. Now we'll click the outline button and click OK. While we still have this range selected, we'll change the font and point size. Click the triangle button to the right of the font box. The font box is the first box on the formatting toolbar. We'll select the Algerian font. The font size box is just to the right of the font box. We'll click the arrow button to the right of the size box and choose 16. Now we'll select cells B10 through F10 and choose the arrow button to the right of the Borders button. The Borders button is the third button from the right on the formatting toolbar. Select the second choice from the left in the second row to draw a border under the selection. Highlight cells B11 through F11 and click the menu button next to the Borders tools. Choose the first button in the second row to double underline this selection. Click on cell A5. The B button on the formatting toolbar will add bold facing to the selected cells. We'll click the B button to turn on the bold facing. If we click it again, we turn off the bold enhancement. We'll leave it turned on. The I button italicizes. We'll choose it also. The U button adds underlining. We'll leave that button off.
Excel allows us to copy formats from one cell or range to another.
While cell A5 is still selected, we'll click the Format Painter button. The Format Painter button looks like a paintbrush. Click cell A6 to apply the formatting. To copy formats to more than one range, we double-click the Format Painter button. We'll drag through cells A7 through A11, then we'll drag through cells B4 through F4. When we double-click the Format Painter button, the Format Painter cursor stays active until we click the Format Painter button again. Click the Format Painter to turn it off. Now let's print our enhanced worksheet.
The Print menu prints the worksheet based on the setting in the Page Setup and Printer Setup.
Choose the Print command from the File menu. The Print What option allows us to specify if we want to print areas within a worksheet, active sheets, or the entire workbook.
If we choose Selection, Excel prints only the highlighted cells in selected sheets. Non-adjacent selections are printed on separate pages.
The Active Sheets option prints the area of each of the currently selected sheets, with each print area starting on a different page. If no print area is defined on a separate sheet, that entire sheet is printed.
Entire Workbook prints the entire print area of all sheets in the active Workbook. If a sheet doesn't have a print area, the entire sheet is printed.
The Copies option allows us to specify the number of copies we want to print. Print Range lets us specify which pages in the selected sheets to print. All prints all of the pages in the selected sheets. Pages prints the range of pages specified in the From and To boxes. To close the Print dialog box, we'll click on the Cancel button.
Print Preview displays each page as it looks when it's printed.
Print Preview is useful when we're printing long or heavily formatted worksheets because we can see how the worksheet will be positioned on the printed page, and we can make changes before printing. We'll click the Print Preview button on the standard toolbar. It looks like a piece of paper with a magnifying glass in front of it. The status bar at the bottom of the screen shows the current page number and the total number of pages in the selected sheet. The mouse looks like a magnifying glass. We position the mouse on the part of the worksheet that we want to view. Then we click the mouse button to zoom in on that area. We click the mouse again to return to the page preview size. Click the Margins button to adjust the margins. We change the margins by dragging the handles. If we place the mouse on the black boxes at the top of the page, we can adjust the column width from Print Preview. Click the Setup button.
Page Setup controls the appearance of the printed document.
Page Setup options applies to individual sheets within a workbook. When we are working with a group of selected sheets, any changes we make in the Page Setup dialog box will apply only on the selected sheets that are the same type as the active sheet. The Page tab controls page orientation, scaling, paper size, print quality, and starting page number. We'll set the orientation to Portrait. The Margins tab controls the page margins, header and footer margins, and vertical and horizontal centering. We'll change the top margin to 2 inches and center our worksheet both vertically and horizontally. The Header Footer tab selects a header or footer from the built-in headers and footers. We can also customize a header and footer. We'll click the Custom Header button. We'll click in the left section and type Via Graphics. We'll drag across Via Graphics and click the capital A button. Let's select the wide Latin font change the size to 14 and choose Double Underline. Press Enter. Click in the right section box and click the second button on the left to add the page numbers as a header. We'll press the space bar and type the word OF and press the third button from the left. This button displays the total number of pages. Click on OK. We'll click OK again to close the Page Setup box. Now we'll click on the Close button to leave the Print Preview window. From the File menu, we'll choose Page Setup. The Sheet tab controls the print area, print titles, page order, black and white printing, draft quality, printing cell notes, cell grid lines, and row and column headings. The Sheet tab is displayed if the active sheet is a worksheet or macro sheet. With the Sheet tab selected, we'll click in the Print Area box. We'll click the Collapse dialog button to the right of the box and we'll drag through cells A1 to F11. Click the Expand dialog button to return the dialog box to regular size. Then we'll click OK. We'll select the Print button on the toolbar to print the file. It looks like a printer. Finally, we'll close this file and save any changes. Close any remaining open files and save changes if necessary. In this chapter, we added borders, changed both the font and font size, and applied bold-facing, italics, and underlining.
We copied formats using the Format Painter. We discussed the Print dialog box, Print Preview, and the page setup.
To delete the learning files from the hard drive, first exit Excel and return to the Windows 95 desktop. Then right-click the Start button and open the Explorer. Next, highlight the VIA Graphics Learning folder. Then press and hold the Shift key as we drag the folder to the recycle bin. Next, release the mouse, then the Shift key and our files are deleted. Finally, we'll close the Explorer and we're returned to the Windows 95 desktop. That concludes this video tutorial learning Excel 97 Introduction.
We've covered a lot of information in this tutorial. If you feel you need to review, simply rewind the tape and watch that section again until you're comfortable with the material.
Please feel free to contact us about our video tutorials. Our worldwide website address is http://www.viagraphics.com. Send your questions or comments on this tutorial via email to admin@viagraphics.com. For more information about VIA Graphics training products, email info@viagraphics.com, subject information. For sales questions or to place an order, email sales@viagraphics.com. We at VIA Graphics would like to thank you for choosing our company for your computer training needs.
Remember, if you plan to learn Microsoft Excel or any other computer software, there's no better way than through video training with VIA Graphics.